Okay, what's up YouTube? Game Fiend of all games here, and thus another week of wrestling has come to an end, and thus it is time for another drama scripted Saturday. So let's jump right into the highlights of Raw. It started out with John Cena and The Miz cutting a promo, and which Damien Sandow and Cody Rhodes came and interrupted them, and then it thus turned into a match between Cena and The Miz versus Sandow and Cody Rhodes, which The Miz and John Cena wound up winning that match. After that, we have a small backstage segment about The Shield and Ryback being put in the match and how Vicky Guerrero would find it unfair. And then randomly CM Punk kisses Vicky Guerrero on the cheek saying Happy New Year, which I found kind of odd. Very odd in my opinion. That was kind of out of character in a way for CM Punk. After that, there was a promo from Antonio Cesaro saying how he is the U.S. champion and he's in the U.S. Capitol. And then Sergeant Slaughter comes out and then they have a match for the U.S. title. And Antonio Cesaro winds up winning that match to retain his title. After that, we have a CM Punk promo saying that he had a fantastic year this year. And he's wrestled great people such as Dolph Ziggler, Alberto Del Rio, Kane, John Cena, and Ryback. But he still doesn't know if his knee is ready for next week's match against Ryback. Which, if you guys don't know, is going to be a TLC match on Raw for the WWE title. And he says that if anybody in the fans that had to go through an inch of what he had to go through the past year, due with all the injuries and stuff like that, that they'll probably be in the fetal position. So, yes. After that, the Shield attacks Sheamus, and at the end of the Sheamus and Dolph Ziggler match, gave him the triple powerbomb in the middle of the ring. Highlight of Raw: Wade Barrett beats Kofi Kingston for the Intercontinental title, which is very good for Wade Barrett. So to see that, it shows that WWE is pushing Wade Barrett. They're trying to push him back to the top, or try to give him some momentum where he left off before his injury. But it's bad for Kofi Kingston because I don't know what WWE is going to do with Kofi Kingston. Because like I said before, I feel that it's too late to give Kofi Kingston a main event title push or main event scene push. I think it's too late in his career for that. I think Kofi Kingston sadly is going to be stuck in mid-card hell forever. And also, I don't see Wade Barrett losing that title anytime soon. And I don't even if he does lose the title, I don't see him losing it to Kofi Kingston again. After that, there's a big in-ring promo with Dolph and AJ, basically winding down all of Cena's embarrassing moments of 2012. And then John Cena comes out and literally takes a dump on AJ and Dolph Ziggler. Like crap just starts falling down. That's how Raw ended. Smackdown results: Miz beat Slater, Natalya, Hornswoggle, and Khali beat Primo, Epico, and Rosa Mendez. Wade beat Kofi again for the rematch for the Intercontinental title. Tamina beat Layla. That's very good news that WWE is pushing Tamina Snuka. Randy Orton and Sheamus beat Big Show and Antonio Cesaro. And that wraps it up for WWE news. Let's jump right into TNA. So TNA had a voting about the fans, the fans, vote for TNA Superstar of the Year or Best Wrestler of the Year. And Jeff Hardy ended up winning, which I think is total BS. I'm gonna say right now, I'm just gonna say all voting in wrestling is fixed, because it makes sense. All the drama is scripted, so why not even drama script the voting? Because I fail to believe that they say that Jeff Hardy is the best, where you had Bully Ray Dudley, Austin Aries, the greatest man that ever lived, and Bobby Roode all on the same ballot. Which those three, this past year, I'm going to say that this was their best year in professional wrestling. For all three of these men, it was their best year. And for Jeff Hardy, just for them to just give it to Jeff Hardy was kind of, you know, eh. Other things that stood out to me on TNA was the impersonation of, Christopher Daniels was impersonating Cowboy James Storm. And then Cowboy James Storm gave like a social media breakdown of how he could kick either one of Christopher Daniels or Frankie Kazarian's ass, and it winded up being a match between Cowboy James Storm versus Frankie Kazarian. We've already seen this. We saw this at the last pay-per-view at, what was the last pay-per-view? Was it Turning Point? No, Final Resolution. Yeah, we saw this at Final Resolution. Sorry. We saw this at Final Resolution, and Cowboy James Storm wound up winning at Final Resolution, and Cowboy James Storm wound up winning on the Impact Zone. Other things that stood out, it was 1-3, 1-3. So Aces and Eights recruited Mr. Anderson, the asshole, to help stop Sting. The main event of the night was Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe versus Devon and a random Aces and Eights member. So before the match even starts, Samoa Joe gets into the cage, and Doc comes out and knocks knocks Kurt Angle out. He doesn't knock himself out. That wouldn't make any sense, but wouldn't put it past TNA to do that. But anyway, moving on. Doc comes out and knocks Kurt Angle out before he can even get inside the steel cage, and then they block the cage. So basically, for the majority of the match, it's 1-on-2. Samoa Joe starts holding his own weight, and then Kurt Angle comes to his senses, and he opens up the cage, and the refs do not relock the steel cage. I repeat, the refs do not relock the steel cage. So, long story short, Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe wind up winning the match. And then all of the Aces and Eights come out and just enter the steel cage and just start beating up Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe. Where is Garrett Bischoff and Wes Briscoe at this point? Still in the back, as told by Kurt Angle. But I think after all hell went to loose, I think they should have just came in and interfered. Said the cage was never locked back. Doesn't make any sense. But again, it's TNA logic. I don't know why I'm getting upset, because it's just TNA logic. But yeah, and Mr. Anderson was just standing there outside the cage watching this festivity, chaos just unfold. He was just sitting there with his arms folded like this, just watching. Just like the asshole he is. Just watching. So Sting comes from the back and just gets in the cage and starts beating them one by one with a baseball bat. So at this, the odds are like 9-3. And so one man that enters a steel cage with a baseball bat makes all the difference. Makes all the difference. And before that started, in the middle of the night, they were saying that, it's important that we protect our mask in a way that's unmasked us. Notice how every night when they make an emphasis on saying how it's important to protect the mask and make sure nobody gets their mask unmasked, somebody gets unmasked. TNA logic. So what wound up happening is they beat up everybody, and then all the Aces and Eights members leaves except for one, and then I think it was Kurt Angle or Samoa Joe that unmasked him, and it turned out to be Mike Knox. Big whoop. Another WWE superstar. TNA logic. Another former WWE superstar is unmasked as the Aces and Eights. And then that's how TNA ended. Yeah. So another thing that didn't stand out, that did stand out, doesn't make any sense. At the beginning of the show, Hulk Hogan suspends Bully Ray. Why the hell would you suspend the guy that's on the poster for your pay-per-view? I don't know. So they'd suspend Bully Ray. For how long, we don't know. And he's on the cover of Genesis, which is the pretty looking poster in my opinion. Yeah. And that's going to wrap it up for the TNA news. And undrama scripted news, Punk is cleared to wrestle. The WWE Elimination Chamber poster has been released. WWE Elimination poster has been released. And on this poster is CM Punk, The Rock, John Cena, Sheamus, Ryback, and Big Show. And that's going to wrap it up for this week's Drama Scripted Saturday. There will always be a Drama Scripted Saturday, any Saturday. And if you have any questions that you guys would like to ask me about any wrestling topic, you can follow me on Facebook at Facebook Fiend of All Games. And you could follow me on Twitter at Game_Fiend. All this information is always in the description box below. And I'm Game Fiend Feeding All Games, guys. Signing out. Peace.